Worlds, power systems, revenge arcs, absolute aura farming, the works. Today we're counting down 10 Isekai Manhwa that are absolutely worth reading in 2026. Buckle up. We begin with number 10, The Beginning After the End. And I'm going to be honest with you. This one starts like a comfy isekai, and then slowly punches you in the emotional ribs. The story follows Arthur Lewin, a king reincarnated into a magical world with all his past memories intact. Sounds simple, right? Overpowered baby, learns magic early, becomes a prodigy. Standard formula. But here's the twist. This series actually lets you live Arthur's life step by step. You watch him grow up, train, build friendships, make mistakes, and slowly realize that power doesn't fix loneliness. The art style evolves beautifully too. Early chapters feel colorful and adventurous, almost playful. But as the story darkens, the panels start feeling heavier, shadows deepen, fights feel brutal, and the emotional moments hit way harder than you expect. Moving on to number 9, Trash of the Count's Family, and this manhwa is pure strategic chaos. Our protagonist wakes up inside a novel he once read, but here's the problem. He's now Kale Henatus, a minor villain who gets absolutely wrecked by the story's real hero. Most isekai heroes try to become the strongest fighter. Kale? Nah. This man decides his life goal is maximum laziness. He just wants a peaceful life, money, and zero responsibilities. But the way he achieves that? Pure big brain manipulation. Instead of brute force, Kale collects ancient powers, manipulates events behind the scenes, and slowly builds one of the most ridiculously loyal crews you'll ever see in a manhwa. The art style really sells the vibe too. Characters are expressive, comedic timing is sharp, and when the action scenes appear, the scale goes wild. Now looking at number 8, The Greatest Estate Developer, and this one is straight up comedic genius. The premise is ridiculous in the best way. A modern-day engineering student wakes up inside a fantasy novel as Lloyd Frontera, a useless noble known for drinking and being a total disaster. But instead of becoming a swordsman or mage, Lloyd uses something way more terrifying: infrastructure knowledge. Yeah, bridges, drainage systems, housing projects, and somehow it works. Watching Lloyd introduce modern engineering into a medieval fantasy world is insanely satisfying. Roads get built, floods get prevented, cities start thriving, and the reactions from fantasy characters who've never seen proper construction before? Comedy gold. But the real star here is Lloyd himself. His facial expressions are legendary. The manhwa constantly pushes exaggerated reactions that turn simple scenes into memes. Then suddenly the story flips into serious mode with large-scale political conflicts and monster threats. Moving on to number 7, Latna Saga, Survival Story of a Sword King, and this series is pure brutal survival energy. Our protagonist Hanbin gets transported to another world like a typical isekai hero. But something goes horribly wrong. Instead of leaving the tutorial zone like everyone else, he gets stuck there for 20 years. Just him. Endless monsters. Endless combat. By the time he finally escapes, he's basically a walking natural disaster with sword skills that look illegal. But here's the twist. Despite being absurdly powerful, Hanbin is mentally exhausted, socially awkward, and constantly trying to hide his insane strength from a world that literally hunts otherworlders. The art style goes hard during combat. Huge sword swings, explosive impact panels, monsters getting absolutely demolished. The fights feel heavy and physical, but the quieter moments are just as good. Watching Hanbin slowly reconnect with people after decades of isolation hits surprisingly deep. Number 6 is Dungeon Reset, and this manhwa is basically exploiting game mechanics, the series. The story drops our protagonist into a deadly dungeon challenge where players must survive traps, monsters, and brutal floors. But during a system glitch, he accidentally becomes immune to dungeon resets, which means when the dungeon restarts every day, he keeps everything. Knowledge, resources, items. So while everyone else is barely surviving, this guy starts building what is essentially a full survival base inside the dungeon. Farms, crafting systems, resource loops. Watching him turn a death trap into a comfortable home base is weirdly satisfying. The art style is bright and playful, and the pacing stays fast because the protagonist is constantly experimenting with the rules. Number 5 is FFF Class Trashero, and buckle up, because this one is unhinged. The protagonist spends 10 years defeating the Demon King and completing the entire hero quest. So naturally, he expects a reward. Instead, the gods evaluate his behavior and say, "Yeah, you passed the mission, but your attitude is garbage. F rank." And they send him back to the beginning. What follows is one of the most chaotic revenge speedruns in manhwa history. The protagonist stops pretending to be a noble hero and instead min-maxes everything. He manipulates companions, abuses mechanics, and breaks the entire hero system just to prove how stupid it is. The humor here is savage, like genuinely brutal satire of typical isekai tropes. Now at number 4, Her Summon, and the first thing you'll notice is the art. It's ridiculous. Every chapter looks like someone spent an unreasonable amount of time rendering lighting effects, magic textures, and cinematic angles. The story follows a shut-in otaku who gets summoned into a fantasy world as a magical familiar. Instead of becoming a hero, he becomes the summoned weapon of a young mage girl, which leads to some wild dynamics. He's technically powerful, but he's also socially broken, awkward, and terrified of people. So while giant monsters and magical wars are happening, half the tension comes from him trying not to completely panic in public. The battles are insane visually, glowing spell circles, massive creatures, beautifully animated combat panels. Number 3 is How to Use a Returner, and this series thrives on pure psychological manipulation. The protagonist isn't strong. He's not a legendary fighter, but he has one terrifying ability. He understands people perfectly. Dropped into a brutal survival world filled with monsters and power systems, he quickly realizes something important. Strength isn't everything. Influence is. So instead of grinding levels, he builds alliances, manipulates powerful players, and positions himself next to the strongest hero in the world. And the way he does it is borderline evil genius. The art style leans heavily into character expressions, smirks, calculating stares, quiet tension. Number 2 is Dr. Elise, and this manhwa hits differently from most isekai stories. The protagonist was once a cruel empress who caused massive suffering. After dying, she reincarnates in the modern world and becomes a brilliant surgeon, but fate throws her back again into her original royal life. Only this time, she has medical knowledge. Watching Elise introduce modern surgical techniques into a medieval fantasy setting is fascinating. Emergency surgeries, battlefield medicine, diagnosing diseases nobody understands. It all feels grounded and intense. The art style emphasizes emotional drama too. Hospital scenes feel tense and quiet, with characters hanging on every decision she makes. And finally, number 1, Author of My Own Destiny. This series takes the classic reincarnated into a novel concept and injects it with pure emotional chaos. The protagonist wakes up as a minor noble girl in a story she once wrote, but the real focus isn't her. It's the tragic male lead she created, a character destined for endless suffering. So she decides to change the story. What follows is a fascinating mix of romance, political tension, and narrative self-awareness. Because she knows every major plot point, but changing even one event creates unpredictable consequences. The art style is gorgeous, elegant character designs, dramatic lighting, and cinematic paneling that makes emotional moments hit hard. So that's the list. Now I'm curious, which one is your personal number 1, and which manhwa did I completely underrate? Drop your picks in the comments, and yeah, let the isekai debates begin.